Call of Duty Black Ops 2. What more do we need to say? We've also got news about The Elder Scrolls Online, which takes MMO gaming to an all-new world. Company of Heroes heads to the Eastern Front. Saints Row III welcomes the Dominatrix. Rayman Legends pops up on Wii U. God of War Ascension invites your friends. Max Payne 3 is in line for a stack of DLC. And we get a good look at the unfinished Swan, all in this week's edition of Player Attack. Hi, I'm Jessica Citizen. Call of Duty Black Ops 2 was teased, leaked, denied, exposed, retracted, and finally confirmed this week as Treyarch and Activision head into a quasi-futuristic space for this new FPS. While the original Black Ops was set during the Vietnam War and the Cold War, both of which actually happened, the sequel is looking at 2025, in the middle of a 21st century Cold War, meaning we'll get a game full of all sorts of modern technology as well as a few bits and pieces that are just out of reach.
Aside from the fact that I'm still alive, none of this surprises me. Technology got stronger, but we got weaker. We built computers, robots, whole unmanned armies, and no one ever asks what happens when the enemy steals the keys.
Getting the important questions out of the way, this one is in development at Black Ops Studio Treyarch. It's due for release on November 13th this year, and yes, there will be zombies. The game was leaked a full 24 hours before the planned reveal on US television, with the trailer officially launched well before schedule. It hasn't seemed to reduce the impact of the game. The trailer even got a dedicated TV spot in Australia, many hours after the rest of the world. And while the information has only come in from one retailer, Amazon is reporting that day one pre-orders for Black Ops 2 are 10 times the pre-order numbers of the original game. That's not too surprising. Sequels often perform better than earlier games in the series. What is surprising? Black Ops 2 received 30% more day one pre-orders than Modern Warfare 3. Given that Modern Warfare 3 is among the top 20 pre-orders ever for content sold on Amazon, including non-gaming items like books, movies, and clothes, that's no mean feat from Treyarch. Also revealed this week, and going for a somewhat different demographic, The Elder Scrolls Online, with ZeniMax Online Studios finally giving gamers the opportunity to explore Skyrim and its surrounds with a few friends. The game is an MMO, and it's been in development for 5 years already, kept tightly under wraps. Finally, the game has emerged and shown off some pretty impressive wings, even if we don't know quite when we'll be able to check it out ourselves. The Elder Scrolls Online takes a different approach to some standard MMO elements, promising public dungeons rather than private instances, hopefully encouraging gamers to play together towards common goals. There's also player-driven PvP, full voice acting, stealth, recognisable locations, and a solo questing. Details at this stage are fairly slim, but with that major trade show known as E3 just around the corner, you shouldn't have to wait too long to hear more.
The Imperial throne sits empty. The dragonfire's cold, unlit, and from every corner, darkness grows. Now, ancient enemies band together. Unlikely alliances are forged. Old ambitions rekindled. And as enemies rise faster than allies, salvation cannot come from one hero alone, but from many.
This was a big week for gaming reveals, although this next one wasn't exactly planned. Company of Heroes 2 is a real thing, and it's in the works at Relic Entertainment. The World War II RTS is headed to the Eastern Theatre, with battles set in Moscow, Kursk, Rostov, Smolensk, and Stalingrad. Relic claims to have learned from its experience creating Dawn of War 2, which it calls an amazing but imperfect game. This time round, it promises this one will be true to the Company of Heroes core game. Whether or not we'll be able to see much of that one at E3 is a different question, as THQ has revealed that it will not host a booth at this year's Expo. It seems a sensible, if controversial, decision from the publisher, who has spent the last 12 months suffering massive job losses, budget cuts, and disappointing sales figures. With the potential delisting from Nasdaq still hanging over the company's head, spending upwards of $1 million on some flashy lights and big screens probably just didn't seem worth it. THQ is promising to still have games available over the show week, as well as hosting meetings with media and business, but if you'd hoped to check things out on the show floor, you might just have to come back next year. The news is particularly disappointing for fans of Saints Row the Third, with a brand new standalone expansion pack detailed for the game this week. Enter the Dominatrix started life as a detailed April Fool's Day prank, but now, just a month later, it's shaping up to be a real game following on immediately from the events of Saints Row the Third. That is, unfortunately, about all we know, but we do hear you will have freaking superpowers. A few other things were confirmed this week too. Rayman Origins really is on the way from Michel Ancel and Ubisoft, following the company's pair of domain registrations last week. In addition to the same style of platforming play we saw in Rayman Origins last year, Ubi has brought NFC support to the table, meaning you'll be able to play with real-world objects inside the game's fantasy locations. Developer Ubisoft Montpellier explains that the video leaked online is an internal demonstrative video that in no way represents the final game. But from what we've seen in that clip, the Wii U title looks like something pretty nifty. God of War Ascension was also confirmed last week, but this week has brought some new news. While earlier games in the series have taken fans on a solitary journey, this new prequel means you can bring a friend or two, or 7. 8-person multiplayer means you're able to pick your preferred god, Zeus, Ares, Poseidon, or Hades, and battle it out in a number of different gameplay modes. Also working on new multiplayer content this week is Rockstar Games, which has laid its cards on the table when it comes to downloadable content for Max Payne 3. With 7 new packs due for release by the end of the year, gamers are also offered the money-saving Rockstar Pass, which will save you more than 35% off each pack if you bought the lot individually. Contents of the later packs are still a secret, but with the first one, the Local Justice Map Pack, arriving next month, you won't have to wait too long to check them out. And finally this week, we've been focusing on flashy, violent trailers for a few weeks now, so it's time to take a moment to remember that there are games which really do blur the borders of games as art. This week, I present The Unfinished Swan. Landing on the PlayStation Network a little later this year, The Unfinished Swan follows a young boy who has chased a swan into a colourless world. With hints of Alice in Wonderland and The Ugly Duckling, your task is to colour in the environment using the console's Move controller. The Unfinished Swan was first shown off back in 2008 as an XNA tech demo. Now, developer Giant Sparrow has found a new home within Sony Santa Monica and has signed a new 3-game deal with PlayStation in a move reminiscent of the offer given to that game company for its trio of Flow, Flower, and Journey. For the full version of those trailers, or for more information on any of these stories, head to playerattack.com. I'm Jessica Citizen. We'll see you next week.